There is no sound. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. I have basically messed up my sound on my old computer, and I'm still on my old computer. I need to treat myself to a new one, and yeah. How's everyone doing? Charlie's dream, it's time to party? It certainly is. Although I've got a little bit of a cold, so I'm going to sound even nerdier than normal. I'm going to be like, hey guys, let's talk about some bitcoins. All that stuff. I'm good. I'm good. We had a bit of IRL stuff last week to deal with. We got a little bit of a cold, so it's not the best start to 2024. But the market's pumping. The market's been great. The kind of engagement generally is quite interesting. I think there's a lot going on in the market. I think the whole space in terms of like the ERC 404 narrative, which I'll talk about a little bit later. I mean, that was or is still just incredible in terms of how quickly that's kind of come through, come round. We got Pandora still going, but basically everything else has just shat the bed with that whole 404 narrative. But yeah, we'll have a little chat, see what's going on. Has everyone been winning the last 2 weeks? Because yeah, it's been literally 2, maybe even 3 weeks since I last did my stream, due to IRL circumstances. But market's been a treat, so I hope some of you have made bank. I certainly had a very good read on the market last week in my outlook, and managed to execute basically fuck all of it. Look, Mum, I'm an analyst now, not a trader. Had a lovely few weeks. Glad to hear it. Can't believe it's over and all the Bears have won despite us being at 49k. Yeah, I mean, we'll talk into some of this kind of sentiment analysis and all that kind of stuff. And like, this tweet is just fucking engagement bait. Although obviously, if it works, it's because I'm a genius, not because I'm just tweeting shit, just to get a bit of dopamine from the likes and the comments and everyone telling me that I'm sidelined and retarded and all that kind of wonderful stuff. But yeah, we'll talk about some plays that I'm in, some plays that I'm looking for, some trades that I missed and fucked up. I've basically started the last 2 days with some sort of poor breakout trades for a little continuation, which has kept me on my toes a little bit, and then a couple of other trades to kind of mark the day off and run it back turbo. But how's everyone feeling? Are we all feeling bullish, bearish? Are we all looking for the next leg valiantly? Am I reading comments? Yes, I am. You said you've got a serious altcoin request. Oh no, Mohammed. I don't know why, but like my other screen's like got all your names in blue, and they're a little bit blurry. It's because I'm on my old PC, and it's all a little bit dodge. When $1 Vanry, I can't tell you that. I'm afraid I'm not legally allowed to, because that would semi-constitute financial advice, which none of this is. Yeah, I've got a big bag of Vanry, and I want to sell it at $1. Realistically, if it got to like 40 cents, 50 cents, I'd definitely shave some off and just take some money off the table. Am I still an aimbot? Yes, I am. I think that's just slowly trending to zero. Dump it, I'm shorting. Let's go. Pretty bullish, not over trading. How should one play Vanry? Well, I can't tell you that. I can tell you how I'm playing it. I mean, I'm pretty much tweeting about it every so often, but the bugger won't break out of this range. It literally, all I wanted to do is just go boop, and just flip this, and then off we go. We will really start going to the races. But alas, not yet. This just looks like one big kind of meme triangle, and every time it's broken up, it's literally rejected, which is quite disappointing, really, especially given the rest of the market and how strong the rest of the market's been. But if we actually get pure meme triangle, then there will be a lovely breakout trade towards the end of it. I'm reasonably confident in that, but not financial advice, obviously. Mixed signals on the market. We reached 50k. I feel like when will my odds pump to Valhalla? I think that's one thing that that a lot of people don't take into account, the fact that we're at 50k and everyone's like, oh, this incredible alt season's coming. I mean, I'm happy to post about that on the timeline and get a bit of engagement and feed my own brain and dopamine. But the reality is like the attention span of like I'm not planning for the days where you log on and like every altcoin is up 50 to 100%. Like that was lunacy back in 2020, 2021. Maybe it does happen, right? Maybe it does, and maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I'm sat eating my words in a few months' time. And this is the easiest play ever. But do you know what? If that happens, I'm going to have spot exposure. If that happens, I'm going to be playing it intraday anyway on burps, and I'll probably catch a decent chunk of those moves. So it kind of doesn't make a difference to me as to how, I go or position myself into that kind of notion. I'd rather be prepared for this is good. The moves that we had yesterday on altcoins were fantastic. So we had some really good runs, like generally across the board, double-digit gains. Since like early in the morning, which is when I trade or I start trading, huge moves on things like whiff and ordinals. Like for me, that's enough. And I know a lot of people want to smash out 100% in a day, and or maybe even more, maybe 100x in a day, and just call it quits. But I'm quite happy with the kind of slow and steady approach. The real kick dad, hello. Thoughts on Fat from when we last covered on stream? To be honest, mate, I can't really remember. I haven't traded Fat, I don't think. No, I haven't even got it marked up. So unfortunately, my memory is going to be nothing useful. So where do we all think we're going with BTC then? Are we going straight to infinity, super cycle? Let's go. Is this the local top? What's people's views? Down to daily reset? Not a bad shout, mate. 52. Ooh. 100k this year. I like that because I think it's like we've talked about it quite a lot, which is just this is a very strong trend. Yes, we get some consolidation, which gives alts nice time to run. There have been a couple of opportunities to short it if you really wanted to. I myself took a short up here, and that was more of a hedge against. My personal kind of not exposure, but my personal trading style, which actually worked out really well. I managed to close some down here, but not all of it, and round tripped a lot of it. Well, not a lot of it, but around about half of it, I think. So, I had this short, and it protected me for a little while I couldn't really trade because there wasn't much to do in terms of longing or rotations. Like, the market was pretty risk off. But you come back down here, and pretty much my plan was to long the breakout up here. This was my trade plan, which I went over in the group, with a very unambitious target, as it turns out. Literally this. I ended up closing it down here, like literally in this, because of IRL stuff going on, and I couldn't manage trades or do anything really. So I had to kind of be AFK, but that was the trade that I wanted. And by the time I got back to trading, like this weekend, it was, do I really want to trade this? Do I really want to try and get on board this? I certainly can try, but for me personally, I would rather long alt beta, and so that's what I did. And that's what I did on Monday, was long alt beta and not catch this leg. Now, for me personally, this is quite a strong move, which is starting from a daily time frame to be in that overbought region. Doesn't mean it's going to slow down. Sorry, doesn't mean it's going to stop continuing or anything like that. Just for me, it's quite hard to have the bulk of the move like here. It's clearly slowing down whatever time frame you look at. And yes, if we get some form of consolidation, I can happily play it again. But for me, this trade is kind of done, right? So even though I wasn't in it, even though I didn't get it, like from an analysis perspective, did quite well. But from an actual execution perspective, didn't take it for the virtue of the fact that I wasn't around. So I'm looking for like the next trade on BTC for me, really, and there's nothing for me to do here. Partly because there's not really a great invalidation on this particular like longing from here. I want to see a bit of consolidation. Even if we literally just had consolidated and we never really did any form of sweep or anything, like I'd quite happily long a breakout or play a breakout kind of trade. Particularly because momentum's in our favor. It's with the trend, etc., etc. And I'm not afraid to do that. Like this kind of pattern here, basically, this down here of simple downtrend, or like it's hardly a downtrend really, just like literally consolidating, and which way is it going to break? I actually tweeted this. I actually tweeted exactly that. I said, which way is it going to break? And if you zoom out, like, what are you thinking? Like, is this going to the top right or to the bottom right? Like, unless you're capo, it's pretty much going to the top right, and that's capo with a C, by the way, not with a K. So it makes sense about on trend continuation. If you want to short this, by all means. But yeah, for me personally, I'm sat waiting for the next trade. Am I from like Warwickshire? No. I sound posh. I mean, I'm not retarded. Do I have a mustache? No. I grew I'll give you one personal tidbit. During I think it was just before lockdown, we watched, what was it? The Carol Baskin thing, the Tiger King. And I grew facial hair like the Tiger King, which on reflection did not suit me at all. So yeah, I mean, like my longer term targets are much higher for BTC. Like I've had spot bags of BTC for a long time, and I've always kind of said, I've switched to logarithmic, haven't I? And I've always kind of said like 100 to 250k is where I want to be unloading those. And I think that the thing for me is that like it's hard to balance and effectively measure retail FOMO, and that's one of the things that I think's harder to measure on the basis of people use Google Trends. Most people know what Bitcoin is, so Google Trends is less relevant. People use like what is it, like number of new accounts registered. Well, that might diminish on the basis of a lot of people have accounts, and they are trading or have been trading for a period of time. The easiest thing for me to do is, and I've talked about this on stream before, is literally just look at what's going on with this, and look at what's going on with the stablecoin market cap. And, since last time, it's just gone up and up and up, and effectively it's money coming into crypto, money leaving crypto, money coming into crypto. Like that's it. Like, and as far as I'm concerned, as long as this remains like up only, great. Like, why would you switch your bias for what is, a reasonable risk reward, I suppose, if we end up going back to like 10k or something. But for me, it's just people trying to play for clout points with that kind of thing at the moment, and it just doesn't interest me. I'd rather be wrong a couple of times, longing like at the Pico top and trying to catch some decent rotations, than trying to catch a short 15 times and getting my ass handed to me. Because if you were doing that during this period, you would have got absolutely fucked. One other thing then, while I'm on it, just because it's here, I tweeted about this the other day. I actually think it's just really simple, and it's helped me a lot to quantify when I should and shouldn't be trading. Because the basis of my trading is longing altcoin beta, right? So for a start, I want to be long into an uptrend. So let's make sure we're in an uptrend, even just some simple EMA crosses, and I want there to be some volatility, which is never guaranteed, right? Just because we're above an EMA or whatever. But this has worked really, really well, and like here it didn't, and here again, not particularly great, but you get chopped up once, twice, 3 times, but all the other times, you're in an uptrend, you're catching some vol, and hopefully you can get some nice rotations and just play into that kind of market strength. You sound proper posh. Oh, good. You've never posh laugh. Never laugh like a dolphin, apparently. Can I ask what you're using to get the volume on the right? Of course, VRVP, visible range volume profile, and it just helps you just visualize. To be honest, all I use it for is just literally compliments of drawing my bullshit boxes, aka support and resistance. So like if we've got a lot of volume here, I can kind of expect price to kind of be held within that region, and then if we start breaking out, if it comes back into that big cluster of volume, it's likely that we're probably just going to continue that chop. Whereas if we start, when we start getting to the edges, I'm happier to take breakout trades, and I just have to be quick with my trigger finger on the basis of if it reverses and accepts back into that volume range, then it's probably going to be a bit choppy and boring. TraderXO Scano, love to see it. Yeah, I coded it up for him. It's just a very basic system. It's literally a couple of EMAs. It's nothing particularly fancy. I'm not trying to sell it as some glorious one-stop shop for your trading needs. It's going to be 100% win rate or any bullshit like that. But yeah, some simple EMAs, some simple views of looking at the market, and just objectively challenging your bias, I think is the best way to put it. What a scam. What a scam this is. Lovely. But this is why we're in crypto, right? So I'm going to talk about a couple of things. I don't want to be on here for too long tonight because, as you can probably tell, my voice is getting a little bit fucked. I think I've kind of gone over BTC. Like for me, ETH BTC, not particularly attractive. Like the reason that I'm not a huge fan of ETH BTC, and this is the thing that I always get, which is, why aren't you super bullish at the lows? And why aren't you trying to essentially knife catch? Like I rarely take that trade. I like taking that trade over that pretty much every single time, or even like a reclaim or something of that ilk, just to show me some form of strength. If there was a divergence across these lows, which this price structure obviously doesn't do, that would do it. That would be a nice signal for me of a divergence at a range low. Lovely. I can take that. I can kind of justify playing, into the opposite direction of what has been the trend for some time. But that's not the case with this, and I'm quite happy to miss out on some ETH beta. I think there are better plays generally. I shared what's it called yesterday, maybe the day before, and by what's it called, I of course mean Pandora. That's been okay, not too bad. We did a little bit of memeing. This is when I tweeted about it at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, somewhere down there. So it's done pretty well in terms of to there and to the highs, pretty liquid. 39 mil volume, pretty good. The opposing thing of Monarch didn't do too well, so that kind of offsets it to a point, but it started running and then obviously came back, whereas Pandora really went for it. And yeah, this whole ERC 404 narrative, pretty wild really when you think about it, given that it's a couple of days. Any thoughts on trade humor? No, sorry. It seems like most good traders like to see a bounce and retest. I think that depends on your style, and I think that depends on you. It's a really interesting thing because I see a lot of people who, will just play range lows and will just take a range low play, and that's absolutely fine. There's definitely something to be said for being greedy in these conditions as well. And I'll give you the example that if you're new to the stream, you wouldn't have probably seen before. But I will give you the example that I had on Rune, which is a bag that I will always love because it made me an awful lot of money last run, and I basically had an alert. Where was it? I want to say here. I want to say right. We had this huge kind of breakout into this huge consolidation and this range for whatever it was, like the best part of a year and a half, or just over a year, sorry. And down in here, where I was looking at the breakout, I basically had an alert like here for a retest. And that's where I wanted to load up my position. That's where I basically wanted to chuck in everything that I'd made from Rune before and go again type thing. Not necessarily to like $100 or whatever, which is my original target, although I sold a lot of it by the time it got to 20. But really go for that like next run. And when you think about how fucking stupid that is, and how greedy that is, just around whatever that is in terms of like risk reward, like it's literally nothing, because you can kind of expect, like maybe not like to the peak highs, but you can kind of expect that when like what was at the time the strongest altcoin, it was the first or one of the first to break out of its like accumulation range, that's been consolidating for well over a year. Like that is a recipe for success. So being greedy by like literally a whatever it was, like percent or two difference, like it was basically this, really dumb, to be honest. And when you look back at that, and okay, we're not in those exact same situations now. A lot of coins have broken out of their multi-month or yearly accumulation ranges. Some haven't, and some have just been kind of forgotten about, and it's quite difficult to really keep up with all of those, especially if they're not on the radar. Like the difference between like that and like this, or rather this and this, really not much. Like just pure greed. Oh, Charlie, a little late. I'll catch up on 1.5x. Nice. Rune, absolutely degenerate MMs. Yeah, when they send, they really do. What do I think will have the best performance this cycle? I mean, it's sadly, I think the same as pretty much every cycle. And Chris Romano captured it brilliantly earlier. He said that in a bear market, fundamentals really matter, and you're basing your decision off metrics. And in a bull market, you're basing it off attention. And my response to that is kind of, you have to switch off a little bit during a bull market, and you have to. I actually said it to my friend Posty the other day. I said, we're kind of disadvantaged of having seen cycles before, because in my first cycle, I could think like a retard, and I could think like someone who, because I didn't know what was going on. I was, oh my god, a Disney coin, whee! And anyone who was here in 2017 will know Dragon and Dragon Chain, and I literally like aped in with a fair amount of money, to be fair, and I think it went like 10, 15x in like a couple of days. It just like absolutely ran, and it went on the basis of it was new, it was a Disney coin, it was this, it had this whole thing, and anyone who did more than 2 minutes of research would have went, well, Disney said that they might support the project. But that was literally it. So, I just had the like stupidity, the conviction, it's all fuck you and fun money, yada yada yada. I think over time, when you've seen, well, not the same project necessarily, but the same plays again and again and again and again, you kind of forget that sometimes it just takes one or two little tidbits about it that really catch that attention spark. So I think it'll be generally new projects. I think it'll be generally memes as well. There will be a meme. There will be a meme coin that goes absolutely fucking bananas. We'll talk about Whiff in a minute because Whiff's done, really, really well. Do I know what meme that is? Absolutely fucking not. I wish I did, because I would just put my entire net worth in it, and obviously a billion exit, and then go, right, maybe I'll leave, but probably won't. The reality is that there's so many meme coins that get launched. There's new ones every week, and I've played quite a few of them, to be honest with you, whether they've been on Sol, whether they've been on ETH. I made some money here and there, and lost some money here and there. They're very, very volatile, very, very high risk. But really, you are going to see, if bullish conditions continue, you will see some form of new meme emerge, I think, that, just flies. And it always does, because it's an attention economy. Like, crypto is basically a speculative premium. Like, if you actually did the discounted cash flow analysis on most of it, there's some really good projects that do actually have more revenue now. You'd say that's probably the amount of crypto whose valuations are justified on the basis of their revenue that they bring in every year, less their costs, etc. And then everything else is just, the other 95% is just trash, basically. That is just speculative premium. So, you kind of have to be aware of what you're trading, but speculative premiums exist in TradFi markets as well. It's not a new thing. It's just exacerbated massively by the fact that it's crypto, and all you need is a white paper and a rumor, and you can raise $10 million and launch 100 million FTV. But anyway, that's a big rant. So yeah, let's talk about some of the others. What I think about fork. It's good with knife. Generally for eating dinner. That's a fucking boomer joke for you. Happy Christmas. Yeah, and I also think that this was, I was ranting about this in the group, and saying that you don't have to think smart in these conditions. You just have to pick. You just have to pick well. And Whiff is, a nightmare to trade in terms of liquidity, but it's a really nice coin once it gets moving. And you can see, this is my thought process, just completely unedited. There should be some demand in here, and you're looking for a break of this trend, and then you just want to jump on board. I obviously assumed that there would be a little bounce from here. Did not happen that way. Actually, it happened a little bit later, and this is the rotation that you get off the back of it, which actually isn't this. It's that. Realistically, if you just stuck any form of trend following system on there, even just like an EMA, you don't touch it for a long time, and you wouldn't have caught that, because that is just a big candle, and you would have got chunked out down here probably, or on average down there, and on average, get out there. But the simple point of literally, if you ran a very simple EMA strat into a break of a downtrend on a high beta asset, you can bag 30% moves, which is fucking ridiculous. And this isn't just a one-off example, right? This happens quite a lot on things like Bonk, things like Whiff, high beta meme coins, strong downtrend. As soon as it's broken, nice run. Strong downtrend. As soon as it's broken, what are we gonna do? Don't know. But literal trend following systems on high beta assets work really well in these conditions when there's volatility. And then you're gonna ask me, Charlie, when do I know there's volatility? You don't. The one thing that I have been using to try and anticipate volatility has literally been that method I showed you earlier of looking at the high time frame EMAs on BTC and the market, total market cap, basically. So when we're above, it's time to be a little bit more risk on. And the other thing is this. So when you are looking at this, and when it looks like this, i.e. there's quite a lot above BTC, and there's a reasonable amount of differentiation across spaghetti. So there's stuff going on, there's stuff moving by itself. That's great. When you get basically everything like this I'm not going to do that, like this in a straight line, and it's kind of all sat within a 2% range, plus 1%, minus 1%, that is fucking boring. And if it's all flat as a pancake, then, which is actually Pancake Day today, so happy Lent to anyone who celebrates, that kind of thing is just, not what you want to be trading. So, okay, now look at this. Lovely rug. Lovely. But yes, that's kind of a lot of stuff in a nutshell. I'm just going to have a swig of my tea. I think I deserve it. We'll talk about some setups that I'm in. I've been using it for scalping, but I would like to know how you use it. Yeah, so I use it for intraday rotations. So this has probably been my biggest flaw in terms of how I've been playing the market generally. It comes down to a couple of things about me. So anyone who knows me, I used to be an accountant, so I'm pretty risk averse. One of the things with my trading in terms of like, a lot of people will do this and they will like, assuming you can get a P&L curve that looks something like that, right? And obviously it doesn't always look like that. It looks something like this. You know, you have good days, you have bad days, but generally going up. You know, a lot of people will do that. Whereas what I tend to do is I tend to shave money off and take a sort of pretty steep step back. And that's not me getting my account liquidated. That's me going, yeah, okay. I don't like trading with too much size, particularly with some of the altcoin rotations that I play. I'm happy to go in on like BTC pretty damn hard, but because there's liquidity there. But if you try trading something like WIF with size, you're going to get your ass fucked. Or at least I do anyway. Especially with like a minus 10% candle, you can go, right, well, there's a few weeks, even months, like gains back just from lack of liquidity. But like I've been, what I tend to do, so if I look at like this morning, and I'll talk through this morning's trade actually because it didn't work out well, and I don't want to just give the impression that I don't do trades, because I do. This wasn't really a loss. It was more of a, I think I got out. I think I actually made a very small amount of money, all in all. But let's have a peep. So let's take this off. So I loaded up this morning and looked at the charts and thought, right, what do I think is going to be the kind of next sender? And Sol kind of jumped out at me for the pure reasons of, one, it was one of the few greens at that point in time. It wasn't particularly high beta in terms of spaghetti, but what I wanted to do was take a position on it and kind of anticipate the breakout to, well, basically up here. And I'll talk you through my execution and how I started building a position on it, and then when I got cucked out of it, basically. And I'm literally down on the 1 minute chart. I think I even tweeted about it this morning and said, I think there'll be a sol rotation. I think I tweeted it here actually, like somewhere down here. But you can basically see we've established this high time frame range. We had that classic parabolic run up and into a strong sell off. We've been trying at the range high. Only a couple of times, not too much consolidation, but dips being pretty aggressively bought. And we had this move here, which was like reasonably high beta. But my thought process was, we've got this point of control in the middle of this range that's been established. We had this kind of initiation candle down here to say that actually there is a reasonable bit of strength on Solana where there wasn't in the rest of the market. So kind of the market showing its hand in terms of the next rotation. I didn't want to long below this point of control. I wanted to long above it, so I basically missed this little bit because I was putting some stuff in the group, and then I longed in here, and then we got this move. And as we approached this area here, as we flipped it, I added to it, and we started going. And I basically said it's kind of do or die. When it gets to these former highs, like the reaction is really important. So as you can see, like literally instead of cutting through it like butter and breaking out, which like a hot knife through butter, and running for it, like that's when you start running, because if it's not going to push into the kind of former high, then it's just going to come back and rotate down on you. And I managed to get out around here, so it's not a trade that I'd be logging and being like, wow, what incredible. It's just kind of a failed breakout and close and protect, and then obviously market rugged and CPI and all that kind of jazz. But like, I want to see, there's two ways that I use spaghetti. One is if I'm looking for that position and I'm looking for that Solana rotation, I want to see Sol up here. So I am actually currently in a Sol long. So it's kind of good to see it up there, and it was a little bit better than that whenever the market shut the bed back here. I wonder if it's still pretty reasonable. So yeah, it's one of the better performers. I'm actually in a long from down here somewhere on average. And again, that thought process is, basically draw up range, reclaim that range, a little bit of strength, start longing in here, and now my validation is down here somewhere. So I'm playing like, they're not scalps, because when you say scalps, this should be like a 1 minute, 2 minute maximum kind of trade. Like you're literally playing the ticks and you're looking for that rotation up, rotation down. Like, you're in and out, you're playing some form of inefficiency in the market. My average trade time is about an hour or so. So, yeah. So that's one. Looking like using it using it as confirmation of your trade thesis. It can also be used to counteract your trade thesis. So if your trade thesis is I'm going to long Sol because it's the strongest coin, I've now got my invalidation in terms of like price action and technical analysis, and now I want to see how it's comparing to the rest of the market. And you go, right, well, I've entered on the basis of claimed a level, got relative strength, my stop's under here, and then if it goes up, and let's say it rejects here, and it starts losing relative strength compared to the rest of the market, you've just invalidated your trade. So that's one thing that I'll do, is I'll use it to get out of a trade as well as in one. And that, it does require some nuance, some looking at spaghetti and all that kind of stuff, but and kind of being used to it. And sometimes it's wrong, right? Sometimes it gives you that signal because you are just at a decent resistance, and if you'd have held it, it then just goes and does this. But if you get that relative strength back, you can always buy back in, is my thought process. And if you get like clean levels like this, and you get something like that, you can always add. And that whole thought process of there's always another trade is helpful. So what plays am I in now? I'm in quite a few like lower caps. I'm also in this in AI. So I've tried to shift my mindset a little bit into some higher time frame plays, and that is like a bit of a meme target. But realistically, if you look at this chart and if you look at like these levels that we've got, I posted this in my Outlook and in the group this week. If you look at this and you think it's AI coin and you think it's AI season, like on-chain AI has had some really good recoveries and really incredible candles, and an AI ticker for an AI market and a new coin that's breaking out of an established range. Like, look at this, and then like look at Tier, like when Tier launched. It's kind of similar vibes. I mean, I get that Tier's probably got more catalysts in terms of the airdrop mechanics and yada yada yada, but I'm gonna say what I like because I want to pump my bags. But that's like one of my higher time frame trades. Right, apologies. ENS. I started off the week looking at ENS and basically doing the same thing of playing a breakout trade. Here, maybe it was here. Maybe it was Monday afternoon. Doesn't ring a bell, but whenever it was. But ENS is a coin that I think basically pumps, and I think we get a move soon. And this is what we were talking about earlier in terms of like how aggressive do you want to be with your positioning? Do you want to be trying to catch these lows on the basis of we're holding up a meme diagonal? It's been relatively strong in terms of beta recently, and it's done pretty well. Like, I think it looks pretty good in terms of like we are consistently buying it up, right? We are not printing lower lows like on a higher time frame basis. Like, well, not really higher time frame, but hourly, 2 hourly, whatever. Would I like to take a position here, or would I rather take it here? Like, for me personally, it's there. For some others, it'll be down here. For some others, it might be 50-50 and break between the two. For some others, not at all, right? But I genuinely think that we get a decent run with ENS at some point, especially if you're like looking for an ETH proxy play. There is this. There is obviously things like OP, LDO, etc. OP again was one where I think I pretty much crushed the analysis on it in terms of it breaking out and how like literally that's the play to look for, like literally like reclaims or just any form of level and breaking away from it, like similar to Rune and the discussion that we had earlier. Just coming back to the range highs basically, and I literally level to level plays. Again, didn't take it, so no real clout, but yeah, I think like it's paid well to be reasonably aggressive with these things. Jup is on my radar, despite the fact that the team did a fucking terrible launch, and well, they did a pretty good launch, but obviously they swindled everyone out of tokens and did all that kind of wonderful stuff. But it's actually a very good product. I'm not sponsored by them or anything like that. But if you saw my recent post and you want a Plutus card, I suggest you go and get one, because it is genuinely good free money back on your spending. And yes, there's a partnership and all that kind of stuff. So but I do use it. So, and I've actually been talking about Plutus, I think, pretty much on every stream I've been asked or not asked. It's still on my Twitch. It's been on my Twitch for 2 years, despite not having an official partnership, so to speak. But yeah, go check it out. I think we get a run on this again at some point. It's new and shiny. It'll have a run. Even if it's just the team pumping their own token, I don't give a shit about the narrative. I think that just looking for simple reasons to get long, again, nothing complicated. We don't need to massively overthink. Oh, apologies. I just had a cheeky sneeze, and saved you all and your ears from that. So yeah, it's high on my radar, just in terms of like a rotational play. And where are you looking to kind of sell? Pretty much up here would be any form of first target, and just literally like rotational play. And obviously, if you're a bit more aggressive, somewhere up here. What else am I looking at? Not too much really. Kind of did Sui before. Whiffs probably. On its descent now. I'd like to see another round on Whiff, partly because I'm long Sol at the moment, and I would like to see Sol again. Really run, and it's keeping that trend quite nicely in terms of the old big ass booty or whatever Magus calls it. That's a big question. What percent do you have allocated currently to long-term holds to a peak bull market? Ooh, that's a very personal question. Nice try, HMRC. It's not high. Is the reality? It's really not high. Like of my personal net worth or whatever, I don't have like huge amounts in crypto in terms of my entire financial portfolio. Like I don't have like many. I suppose I do have a bit of stocks, bonds, and all that kind of shite. But that again is more to just have the security of my family's future and all of that kind of jazz, like tied up to more traditional investments. And the amount of money that I've got in crypto is substantial, but it's not substantial to as a percentage of my net worth, if that makes sense. But in terms of my crypto allocation, I don't actually know. I've got like reasonable size. I've got a lot of spot bags. To be honest, I probably need to tidy everything up, particularly after losing some wallets a few weeks ago. I've got like probably about 10 to 15 like on-chain low caps that I'm holding. I've got a few private sales which I've got like vested interest in. I've got spot BTC, I've got spot ETH, I've got spot Rune, which I've talked about a lot of times on stream. I've got various other spot bags like dotted around. As a percentage of like my net worth in crypto, it's probably something like 50% in my trading balance. 25% in my long-term Bitcoin and ETH positions, and then 25% in a mix of on-chain, pre-sales, all that kind of stuff. Just sitting in a warehouse for the beans. Yeah, that's pretty much it, mate. Yeah, I mean, my view on Manta is like literally not much has changed. Like, I'm not particularly interested in Manta because I didn't get in the pre-sale, so fuck it, shitcoin. I could just do this. It's probably that's what's gonna happen, right? I don't know. Like genuinely for me to be interested in it, it'd be there. Like I'd have to see it kind of just flip this pivot. It's just really nice, really clean pivot. Like, but as long as we're below it, I see no reason to be bullish. Thoughts on Matic? Matic's one like, but this is one of the things with like older coins. Matic is pretty good, but like when you compare it to some of the newer coins, like look at the price action that we've had. It's not exactly been incredible, right? Or maybe it goes on a run, maybe it does something wonderful, but it really hasn't done that yet. It hasn't showed that strength in the market. And the best example of that is Doge, and I really hope Doge comes back and Doge does something incredible. But yeah, it's not going to do this again, I doubt. And if it does, wonderful. But yeah, this is what I mean. It's like, attention economy, memes going to move on, and especially as we've got to a point where we've had lots of different memes. Like if Elon integrates it all with X and does something incredible with it, which could happen, then great. There'll be a nice breakout. It's basically a stable coin. That's a flex when you don't need to be full send 100% in your portfolio in. Yeah, I mean, I suppose it is. But I've seen, this is technically my third cycle. So, I should be in that position, right? I could walk away from crypto if I wanted to. But I don't want to. Like, what else would I do? My daughter's at school 5 days a week. Like, I don't really want to travel the world particularly, like more than I've done and more than I will do. So, that's kind of out. I wouldn't want to spend weeks without my family type thing. So, yeah. I enjoy it. I enjoy this game. It's a fucking great game. How did you make your money first? What were your biggest bull run dubs? What were your biggest bull run dubs? God, there were loads. So I think 2017 was weird. So 2017, it was things like Dragon. There was, I'm trying to think of the specific coin, but there was a coin on Bittrex, DGB. And I said to the boys on WhatsApp, I was like, McAfee's going to call DGB tomorrow as his coin of the day. And they were all like, nah, he's not. Nah, bullshit. Nah. Anyway, I put my entire Bittrex balance in DGB, and I was like, yeah, it's happening. And sure enough, next day he fucking called it. And it went 110% up in like a minute. And that day I learned what slippage was because I took my entire balance and pressed market sell and went, why did I not get 100%? I got like 60% or something. I was like, what the fuck is this? And yes, that's the difference between a market order and a limit order, apparently. But yeah, there were loads of wins during 2017. The problem with 2017 is I didn't keep as much of it as I should have. Like, I cashed out at 10, 15x, I think, what I originally put in. But then the rest of the balance, I let go down about 70% and it gave a lot back. A lot back. And then with 2020 and 2021, like, the build up to that was so different for me because I had a trading manual, I had a plan, I had a tax plan, I had like everything. I had everything kind of documented and really well thought out. I had an investment stack, which I was like buying things like Rune, TRB, which, God, if you told me TRB was going to like $500, I'd have thrown up. I own a lot of TRB. I own a lot of Tomo, actually. I own a real load of Tomo. Tomo was like my big high conviction play. And it didn't really do that well compared to all the others. The big saving grace in my portfolio was actually, my investment portfolio was actually Rune. And then, yeah, like other wins, like during the 2021 phase, there were loads of like NFTs. There was one over 100,000x on an NFT, which was pretty incredible. But it was $1, so you kind of go, whoa, 100,000x return. It's like, yeah, but that was off $1. There were various mints and things that I did that, you mint something and it's suddenly worth like $30,000-$40,000 like overnight. Absolutely incredible time. So there really isn't one big W that changed everything. There was just lots of little ones, and that is probably a testament to me and my trading style and my investing style. Is that like I never went right. My entire portfolio was $100,000. I'm gonna put all of this in this shitcoin and see what the fuck happens. I know people who have done that. I know people who have had it work for them. I know people who have had it not work for them. One of my friends put his entire stack into something called, what was it? It was this coin JRMY kept talking about SparkPoint. Was it? Put his entire stack into SparkPoint and it went up like 15x or something. And then he learned what liquidity was when he tried to sell. And obviously the market then crashed a lot, and basically he ended up with like a few X on what he had. But if he'd diversified into different things, he would have been, up a lot more overall, and probably been able to cash out and actually enjoy it. But yeah, it's one of those things where I don't think there's any right approach, to be honest. There's someone who made 13 million unrealized P&L on Bonk, and if you're a high risk DJ and gambler, go for it. If you're aping into new shitcoin low caps, anything under like 100k and then trying to hold it and run it up, like that's great. Like, I don't know, I would say that having a plan, and a lot of people don't like come into crypto with the intention of getting rich and then have no idea how to get rich or how to cope with being rich and how to actually take profits at different points. Like, what is your plan? Do you have a plan, or are you just going to sit here, look at the charts? Are you a trader? Are you a low time frame trader? Great. Are you a high time frame trader? Great. Are you an investor? Great. Scale your expectations according to what you want to do and focus on where your skills lie. Like that, they're the biggest bits that I can say to people who this might be their first cycle, have plans to take some profits. Try not to FOMO in tops. Like, you want to be participating when it's boring generally, and managing your risk, because what a lot of people do, they see the market doing this and they do this with their risk. And like for me, it's the total opposite. As soon as the market starts going like this, my risk is going like this. So in terms of like number of investment deals that I get offered, they're going up in line with the market. In terms of number of investment deals that I take, it's going down dramatically. And I mean, like, it is like that. It's like a straight line arrow down. I don't think I've invested in anything in the last couple of weeks like that's new. Partly because fully diluted valuations are going up massively, terms are getting shit, and projects want to take, vest everything out over a long period. And crypto is very cyclical. And if you're raising a super high FDV with a super high, a long period of vesting, it has to be a really fucking good product. Really fucking good. So yeah, that's a very long rant. Or very long answer to what was probably a short question. And then like this cycle, it's been loads of different things, to be honest. I've not been as aggressive as I probably should have been in terms of some of my investments. Certain things have done really well in terms of low caps. My trading has been like infinitely better this time than the last two times, and that's more around how I manage myself, my emotions, and all that kind of stuff. But there have been some absolute bangers, like Power, one of them. Really good again. This is what I mean about like AI coins and how it's like literally unwound, weeks, months, even a couple of months of like downtrend basically in like 6 days. Absolute mad market. Much appreciated, Rant. Oh, good. Well, thank you. If it helps, it's good, because I'd like to think I'm not just entirely wasting my time. But yeah, it's have a plan and trust yourself. And that goes, with you and me as well. Like, you can take what I say and why I'm saying it and understand my thought process, and then either go, oh yeah, do you know what? Charlie's right. AI looks fucking great. Lovely. I'm going to go and buy this. Why are you doing that? Are you catching up on my trade? Or what are you doing? Like, because that's not the trade you're taking. You're taking this trade. Like, and what's your thought process? Like, why are you doing that? Why are you going and buying that? Is it because you think it's not going to come back and retest here? Because typically they break out and run. Fine, go for it. Is your target there? Is it here? Is it there? Fuck knows. And the other thing is that having a plan makes it so much easier. So much easier, right? If I've got a plan to take profit here, 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 and here, and I've got some limits there that are set away, and I can just leave those limits, and I can walk away, and it either hits those or hits my stop. Great, I've got a plan, I've got it set. I don't even need to fucking look at this anymore. I might be interested because I want to, but there'll always be like the temptation of going, oh well, I'll just take some profit here, and then you'll be annoyed if it goes higher. But especially when you've got logic to these, like a lot of people use fibs. I don't like to use fibs because I don't know, I just don't like them. But I mean, it's all juju, isn't it, in terms of drawing lines on charts and hoping that someone buys things higher than you bought it. Ultimately, is what we do. But yeah, I just think that like, trust yourself, have your own plan, be prepared to lose, and yeah, just focus on your strengths. Some people are really good researchers. Some people are really good. Some people just get like the memes and get the communities and can get involved in communities and stuff. And there was a question: how can normies get into pre-sales of quality projects? It's really fucking hard. It's really fucking hard. And I don't think you can unless you actually know some of the like devs, or you know some of the team, or you spend time growing an account on Twitter, networking with the right people. A lot of people think that I'm gonna like play the little small violin now, but a lot of people think that like you just become an influencer overnight and all this kind of stuff. And I grant you like it's definitely like there's an influencer privilege, and there is like I wouldn't have partnerships if I didn't have the kind of following, and it's it's a circular thing that you get into pre-sales because you got a following, because your opinion is supposedly more worthy, and it's more worthy because when you talk about it, it infects other people potentially with what you're saying. That's the whole point of a quote-unquote influencer, which I think is a fucking horrible term, because I'm an introverted accountant and I just share my shit, right? I just like spew what comes into my brain, what I like and what I don't like. Like, I just, and a lot of memes. But it's taken a fucking long time. I think I've pressed the like button about 130,000 times. I've tweeted like 40,000 tweets, and half of them have been memes probably, but certainly in the early days when I had like 0 to 10,000 followers, I'd do a lot of threads, I'd do a lot of like thought exercises, I'd do a lot of risk management stuff, I'd do trade setups and thesis of why I'm doing this. I remember like one of the guys I massively looked up to DMing me and saying, I've taken these trades with you, and you've been killing it. Well, no, he said you've been killing it lately, and I was like, have I? He said, yeah, I know, because I've been taking out your fucking trades, and they've all done well. And I was like, oh my god. And then the next one I'd put out, it fucking tanked. But there you go. But my point is that if you want to get into those kind of things, it takes a lot of time and effort, and it's definitely worth growing an account. I did it inadvertently. I started my account, just to give you some inspiration, by going through all of the altcoins on TradeOgre, tweeting out my thoughts and saying I think this is a good project because of this, I think this is a shit project because of this. And community members would come out and they'd say, oh no, it's good because of this, or you've misinterpreted that, or what about this, or have you thought about this? And I'm like, oh shit, I'm growing and I'm actually meeting people. And some of my oldest friends on crypto Twitter I met through exactly that. exactly that process, and then just interacting with people and just enjoying the process and the experience, like not with the end goal of, oh, I want to get into some pre-sales. Just actually I want to learn, I want to network, I want to like share this with people. So yeah, it's a bit much. Can you retweet me so I can become an influencer? If you tweet something good, man, if you write something good, yeah. How bad is the pre-sale dumping on followers really? I clearly see coordinated shows on my timeline of projects that seem good, that have big calls investor rounds, but us being so early in bull. So there's two parts of that. One, you're saying it's early in bull, which I don't know. But the whole pre-sales dumping on followers, it's difficult because I don't know. I don't look at the chain. I don't do any of that stuff. I can do. I'm not a complete retard when it comes to on-chain stuff. But I'm not sat there going, okay, well, 200 wallets got it, 50% of them have sold, 50% of them have sold this much, yada yada. So I actually don't know. And one of the things that I do is I sell some of my pre-sale bags sometimes and buy a spot bag separately. The reason I do that is capital gains tax, and I just lock in a capital gains tax amount, and then I switch it over to income essentially, and just say that if my new spot bag goes up, that's income because that's a trade. That's the trade that I'm taking under income tax. Whereas the realized gain of a pre-sale amount is capital gains. So it will look like on chain that my pre-sale wallet has quote unquote cheated the position, but often I'm buying bigger positions on my other ones as income tax. That's a bit of a UK not tax dodge, tax minimization piece. But I don't know how, my goal isn't Lens. Lens is a really good example. So I haven't sold a single Lens token. I don't intend to. It's literally a proxy to Rune. They are fully backed by Rune. It's like 0% interest loans, yada yada yada. I retweeted the thread by my friend Batman, who, again, one of the people who has put me in touch with different projects in over the course of time. He's helped me out a lot in the space. He's an absolute Chad in this space, and good guy. Go follow him if you want. And like this for me is like this is the typical kind of pattern. Like it's out, people buy tops, and then like people dump, and then there's kind of this whole like accumulation phase, and you usually get a decent like run up. And what was the other one? MIT. Where's that? It's not Amos. Is that actually gonna work? No. But yeah, I mean, I haven't sold a single Lens token. In fact, I bought more. I've averaged in. So I bought some up here actually, around 0.15, and then when it got down to 0.9, I was like, oh fuck this, I'm just gonna double my bag. So my average is down here, so I think it's 0.125 maybe. So maybe it's a little bit higher. So my average is like literally like pretty much here. But for me, like new launch, new token, pretty shiny. If any of the pre-salers wanted to dump, I can't even remember what the pre-sale price is, to be honest with you, but if you type into Google, you'll find it. I think it's up around 7 to 10x. I could be wrong, not financial advice. I'm obviously invested, do your own research and all that crap. But you want the honest the honest truth, kind of there it is. And the other side of it is that people usually only get like 10% of their stack. So even if you're up 10x, if you put $10,000 in, you're only going to get $10,000 worth of token here. You then have to wait months and months and months and months and months for the rest of it. I'm not saying it's bad. Like there's a clear advantage because you bought down fucking here somewhere, right? So there's a huge advantage to it, but there is a huge vested element. So like I used to calculate my vested numbers during 2021 on like a weekly, maybe fortnightly basis. And that number went from, up here, literally like that. And there was nothing I could do about that. Literally minus 75%. Like, then fuck all you can do. You just got to take on the chin. So, it's not all it's cracked up to be. But it is definitely overall an advantage. Got to one pre-sale years ago. Got into X $300. Sold it for 10,000 USD. Never experienced that again. Yeah, there was I actually got into one that was, I think it was a Thor chain one. I'm trying to think what it was. Maybe it was X Starter. I think it was X Starter, and I think it was like a raffle or something. And it was $400 into $12,000, just like, bang, instantly. How do you create a plan if you want to start trading? What are some simple steps? I've probably got a tweet about it. Just search for BTC Charlie and trading manual, and you'll see like a framework there. If not, there's like a load of stuff. I will just show the group because it's a subject that we've got a lot of content on, of like how to set up a daily trading routine, how to set up a trading manual and set some goals and do all that kind of stuff. Like, I try and benchmark myself these days against what the market gives. So I'm looking at, your total market return and what's actually going on. So, I can't be expected to, given that I only trade 5 days a week and I tend to spend the weekends with my family, like if the market has given us, a 70% move, I kind of want my portfolio to be going up, like at least half of that, really, because like my trading. So like I want to be trading to get at least that on my trading balance, purely because of the time I'm spending. And yeah, it might be a little bit lower, might be a little bit higher, but it certainly shouldn't be negative, and it certainly shouldn't be like less than just sticking it in some bonds or something like that. How far did I ride that ship trade? Not far enough, my friend. I'm not a billionaire. Not yet, anyway. Screenshot my manual off Twitter. You're welcome. It's not mine. It was, I think, traded Dante originally, and then XO, and then me. So it's like a combination of things. Yeah, mate. You gotta have some confidence, right? I'm gonna turn this $10 crypto account into billions, 10 figures, baby. Now I could have held that ship trade for a long time. The reality, though, is that like I'm very risk averse, and I never really thought that this is where I'd end up. But que sera. It's been an incredible journey, and if it ends tomorrow, great. Well, not great, but market disappears tomorrow. Yeah, move on. But no, I made a good amount from my ship trade, and it also enabled me to do other things and invest in other projects and do other things with it. So it's always one of those things of like, clearly, it would have been best to have left it there and just maximized that, but I wouldn't have had the experience that I got without that. And one of the things I tweeted, I tweeted the other day actually, is that when you fumbled $1 billion, you kind of don't give a shit anymore because nothing can nothing can compare to that. I wake up and like, oh, that trade would have got me like 10, 20, 30 grand, whatever. Oh well, it's not a billion. Next. So yeah, that's always one. But what does the next couple of weeks look like? I don't know. I never know. I never have super high conviction in anything at the moment. I think we get more up. I think that I'm still genuinely, like, as much as I tweet this as a meme, like, this is what I still want to see. I still want to see like that rapid expansion. I would love us to get that quote unquote retail attention and media frenzy. I hope for my bag's sake that AI has a run. I'm obviously going to delete that because that's not my trade. That is my trade. I hope AI has a run, and I hope that we get a nice run and a breakout of this, like a proper breakout, because we're now literally sat at that little high. So it's like kind of exciting times. And if you were looking to get on board like now, it's kind of like, well, either wait for a bit of consolidation or literally us to start peaking up and literally go for that breakout play. would be my thought process. What other stuff was there? I think that's kind of it, really. I think that's kind of it in terms of these rotations. Might be another nice one on whiff. Whiff is always good to have on your radar. I think I've claimed enough clout for that, and we've done that to death. There was one other coin. Now, if I was a bit more prepared, I would have written it down. I don't know. I think that's enough. I think that's enough to crack on with. Yeah. Has anyone got any questions? Anything else? If you enjoyed it, follow the stream and do all that kind of stuff. Click the like button. Give me some dopamine. You look helium? It's helium HLM, because I was a helium a long time ago. It's not this, is it? It's surely not this. Can we look at Pepe? Yeah, sure. So Pepe suffers from the same thing that I talked about earlier with Doge, I think, is that it's kind of had its run, and I really like Pepe, and I'm mildly annoyed that I was ill, and I was basically feeling like this, actually. I saw it at like 600k market cap, and I was like, that's fucking brilliant. And I was like, oh, I shouldn't be aping like shit coins, as he sat there ready to ape like a few ETH into it. I thought, no, I shouldn't be doing that, not while I feel like shit. But anyway, we move on. If you look at it, like, we basically did this for whiff, right? And we got a 30% move. Do it for Pepe. Well, I suppose it's not too bad. But yeah, I suppose it's not too bad at all. But I guess it's just these, like, I don't know. I'm not comparing apples with apples, am I? Not really. I mean, it's not as bad as I thought it was, to be fair. But in terms of beta, if you stick it on here, you'll see Pepe is generally just sat in the middle somewhere. Where is it? I can't bloody see it. This is like watching your fucking granddad like try and operate the VR headset. I don't know. Don't know what the fuck it is. But yeah, that's my point. It's like you want it to be in one of the extremes. You want it to be up here or down here somewhere. Oh, Pepe, there you go. Did you check Neuer's pump? I did actually. And that's another classic case of incredible analysis. Marked with AFK. Kind of late stream. Did I go over up? No, I didn't, mate. Sorry. HNT. Oh, I've got to type something in. But yes, I did. I did tweet this the other day actually, but as something I sent to a friend. See, I probably would have got baited by this, to be honest. I quite like any form of structure that looks like this. Just in terms of those consistent high lows and that kind of move up, I probably would have got baited in like round here for like entry 1, and then up here again for like breakout 2. But it's not looking particularly wonderful at the moment, is it? In terms of this daily, let's see what we're like. Oh, that's all right. Yeah. Flip it. Got a nice diagonal invalidation. Yeah, that's good. The infrastructure improved overnight. Yeah. Is Mori still in my portfolio? Fucking hell, there's always one, isn't there? Yeah, do you know what? I actually messaged one of them the other day. And I was like, your team have just fucking rugged. Like, look at it. Absolute piece of shit. $52 volume. Fucking scumlords. They are supposedly re-pivoting, but it just annoys me that there's been like very little communication. So I'm down, a significant amount on this, and so are my friends. So, you can't win them all, but I don't mind if people are like building and there's communication and stuff, but you just have to write it off at some point as a rug, and even if it's a slow rug, it's kind of I'll let them prove me wrong because I haven't sold anything, but yeah, that was not one of my finer investments. Looks bottom though. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it does look fairly bottomed at 260k market cap. Um, mm, nice. NMR. Yeah, we had the rippy move the other day to reclaim the range, and again, this is what I mean is like playing those like range breakout plays, and what I'm hoping for this one is, ooh, what am I doing? Nice doodles. Is that we get that essentially that's the accumulation. All of this, that's the breakout, that's the retest, and then we just do something like this. Now, obviously, there's a pretty clear range high around here, and there's a pretty clear level around here, and they're kind of if you're entering here, that's kind of initial targets. If you want to really, depending on your view of bull market and all that kind of stuff, go for real high targets, then just form highs and all that kind of stuff. But for me, I'm quite conservative, generally, and whilst I think that yes, we may be on the precipice of a huge retail run and all of that kind of stuff, particularly with Bitcoin like heading to all-time high, it does genuinely feel quite quiet how, given how like, given the inflows of the ETF and all that kind of stuff, and how close we are to those former highs. Like, what are we actually away from it now? Like, or what were we away from it? 36% move on Bitcoin, and we're breaching all-time highs. Like, that's absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible when you think about things. When you think about where we were, just a year ago, like absolute madness. But I think it's very fucking naive to think that we haven't been blessed with a nice uptrend already. Haven't actually seen anyone do this yet. Let's get a parabola on the blend, shall we? So yeah, you'd expect some pretty little pullback, trend acceleration, and take the high, and maybe we do something really janky, like literally sweep it and then come back under and really fuck everyone, and then continue. But yeah, like I said, like I've always wanted to sell my spot BTC around anywhere between 100 and 250, which is obviously wildly different, but yeah, incredible market. Yeah, it's nearly 8:30, boys and girls. I'm gonna have to love you and leave you. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm glad to be back. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've found my ramblings and musings vaguely interesting. You've come away with some thoughts about the market that you didn't have before, some ideas of things to look at and go after, some trade setups that we're looking for over the next few days, how to use spaghetti, how I'd plan for a sort of newer trader to come into these markets, or not necessarily trader but investor, whatever you want to be, and how to go through that process of deciding. And yeah, anything, just give me a shout. Yeah, cheers, mate. I will try and get better. Um, your support and love is genuinely appreciated on here. So all your likes and subscribes and all that kind of stuff, and more importantly, your likes and subscribes, or your likes rather, on Twitter. I recognise quite a few names, and I recognise quite a few people who basically smash like on every one of my tweets. So it's much appreciated. It's very kind. If you've got questions, just ask them in comments. I genuinely try to respond to you. if you comment on my tweets and stuff, and if you ask questions, I'll be pretty open and honest about things. Like, I've got zero problem with just saying what I think and why I think it, and I hope and trust you all to be sensible and not treat it as financial advice that you're going to stick your mortgage and your mother's kidney on. So